Warriors Unite! Back with another episode of Mega Warriors 2 in the 1% Club. Hope you guys doing well. It's a Saturday morning. I'm taking breaks, running errands. I'm going to try to do a tape here. I know I haven't done one for a while, and I think it was last Sunday, maybe it was. But we'll try to do one tomorrow as well on the weekend. Trying to catch up a little bit here. We got an interesting topic, so let's kind of go into it. We'll do some shout-outs first. Stvn 44. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. Torture Dummies 1672. Thank you. Douglas Nicholson. Thank you. Zacinnc 78. Thank you. Dirty Mint twice. Thank you. I appreciate Dirty Mint. Just Me. Thank you. Dacrownmuzimo. Thank you. I don't know if I said that right. Thank you. Volk has said 41 days. I'm probably a little bit past this, so congratulations, Volk. Keep it up. He had 2. Ametal. Thank you. 2 days. Kongo, thank you, my friend. Cameron Vaughn, as usual, thank you. Jspeaks, thank you. Jspeaks. Moy Hernandez, thanks you as usual. Moy, I appreciate that. Supernatural, thank you. Hizkiyahu, thank you again, my friend. Harrisonfletcher, thank you. Jennings, thank you. Jte Creates again as well. Oleg, thank you. Warpath Buckness, check. Ed Romero, 3 years. Keep going, Ed. I appreciate that, my friend, and thank you. Keep your streak going as well. All right, so and we got some great people that are always go ahead and so I shout out because I think it's great we get people who who always continual listeners, watchers, and I appreciate that a great deal. So I think we're over 6,000, so it's kind of nice to see that. Once again, I don't do this for any reason besides just going ahead and trying to share information. All the years that I've lived, 63 of them, heading in June 64, just trying to kind of reflect back and realize how important this is to people in general, and how the level of self-control is crucial in your life. And it's amazing the difference it's made to me when I've actually gone to monk mode and trying to eliminate a lot of that, even close to it. I fall like we all do, and go back and forth on the monk mode. Haven't released, so that's a nice thing, but still, the monk mode is still something. And when I talk about monk mode, what I'm talking about, guys, is the ability to not even really lust and think about women. And I think it's important to kind of focus on your goals, become the best person you can become. And I'm actually in better shape now at 63 than I was at 25. So I share the information with you guys. A lot of great benefits we've talked about. Today we're going to talk about an interesting thing is. So it kind of deals with a little bit here. And it's called Led by Grace made an interesting comment, which I thought was interesting. And so let's go ahead and talk about this in a lot of different realms here. So the topic of this one is, during semen retention, why let a hard-on go to waste? Very interesting, right? Very interesting. So let's talk about this. And obviously, it's when you get aroused. And so what we could look into that and say, right, the idea could be that you're going to go ahead and release, which is the common type perception we have in this society. Our society is based in this idea of late, over the last, I would say, 50, 60 years, ever since the hippie revolution and I was a kid at this time, small child, that I saw that all of a sudden all of the people decided to have free love, free sex, nothing was wrong with that, and that was something that we should be doing, you should be releasing. And then so all the studies came out, even though back in the 1850s, 1800s, you had a lot of people writing books and stuff on how terrible that releasing is, and that you shouldn't be releasing, and that it leads to mental and physical problems. And we know that's the case. We can see that. I mean, I've seen that over the years myself when I've released all the time back and forth for 47 years, and I had lots of issues mentally and physically. And so I think a lot of depression, a lot of those things come from the fact that you're not being able to control that basic essence of energy you have. Not that you're going to make a mistake once in a while. We all do that kind of stuff. I did that for 47 years. But the question really becomes is that, can you control this to the point of focusing on your goals? You're not focusing on women and being lustful. Now, the hard-on we're talking about, the fact that you're actually, this is an old term that we used a lot more in the old days. I don't think they use it as much now. But the idea is that you're getting aroused and excited. So obviously, your body's telling you it's time to go ahead and find a female, find somebody that you can actually kind of release to. And this is what society's told us. society's told us that, you're healthier if you go ahead and do that several times a week or something like that. And, for a long time, I believed that. And obviously now, over the years, I've learned and did research, and I got the Fountain of Youth book from Kelder back in 1998. Now, I only, obviously, still did not learn all that from 1998 until maybe, was it 4 years ago now, when I was 59 years old. And you get the point of saying, okay, I didn't really even understand the sixth rite, why we did that. But the bottom line really is that if you have a great sexual energy and you need to use that, you don't use it just to go ahead and enter relationships with women. You don't go ahead and release it to pictures and things like that. You're doing this now to understand, okay, I have this energy. It could come out. It could be, out there and, for use for, nobody, right? Obviously, the only time that I would believe you should be releasing is to procreate. But that's something in society that's totally against what everybody's talking about. Now, with all the great, in my mind, the great changes that hopefully will take place over the next, several years, and becoming a lot more back to our religious roots and values and things like that. And that's what I'm hoping is going to happen. You may see this change again. And every 60, 70 years, you do have a change. So, you go from liberal, very liberal for a while, then back to conservative and liberal. And when I was growing up as a small child, middle 60s, there was a movement away from being very conservative, especially after the World War II, and became very liberal. And so this is where we had the revolution and, in the 60s and all the other kind of stuff they were talking about. And so they broke away and everything became liberal. And now you're seeing a change back, where people are realizing that, you can go too far, and all these values, you lead to corruption. And when you look at other types of history and dynasty, the Roman Empire, all these, Sodom and Gomorrah, they fell apart. It's the same common thing. They fall apart because they destroy themselves from within first, before any army takes them over. They fall apart because of the lascivious behaviors, the deviant behaviors. And now people don't want to listen to that, but all these deviant behaviors that we're seeing out there, this is going to destroy the country. And I think there's enough people who now realize this, that you're hopefully shifting the country back to more of a moderate type of conservative attitude, where people are not going to go ahead and have sex with anybody they want and do that, and just releasing anytime they want to, because they know it's going to lead to a lot of problems. Now, regardless of what the media says and doctors says, there's a lot of people who are involved in things to make money. And so they want you to make money. But I just know in my experiences, and I'm just going to tell you this from my experiences, the last 4 years have been, without releasing, has been outstanding, unbelievable. I feel like a different person. I've lost 75 pounds, whatever it might be, and close to that. I think it was a little bit over that. But, and I feel great. I get a lot more energy, and, I'm a lot clearer. I'm getting a lot more things done. I'm making more money. And I'm also, obviously, and though in my case, being married, I focus on women as being just, partly friends, and it's a kind of a flattering thing, but it's also partly that I practice communication, because I'm a communication teacher. So, to me, it's always nice to meet people and interact with people. It's just amazing the level of attraction that, that I've gotten from women, when I didn't have that for many, many years when I was younger. But I was releasing all the time. So it was no wonder that the attraction level wasn't very strong. And now it's a whole different type of thing. And even at 63, you have women flirting, they're in their 30s and 20s even, and it's amazing. It's just amazing to me that this God-given energy that we threw away because of all this brainwashing that I was involved with over the years. And I think this is why we talk about it. So back to what Led by Grace was talking about, the idea is that if you do have some kind of arousal and erection, you should go ahead and transmute. And that's really the bottom line. If you find that's the case, and this is what Kelder said in his book Fountain of Youth, and once I figured it out and I understood what he was really saying, he's saying the elixir for youth is your semen, your retention. And it sounds like something we don't talk about, where it's kind of a taboo type of topic for whatever reason to talk about. But the idea really is that your semen tends to create that elixir for you of youth and gives you that strength to handle things, and your body reacts better. Your body handles things better. We've talked about the proteins. We've talked about all the things within that if you lose it, you're losing all those things in your system. And it's no wonder that people tend to go sick and ill. And then obviously the mental type of it, it affects your brain a great deal by watching those pictures all the time and focusing on that instead of focusing on things you should be focusing on to better your life. And you should be getting better every day. So when you have that type of arousal, and we get that, that's a good sign. The fact that you have an arousal, and even at 63, my age, it's tremendous. And I have been, unfortunately, blessed from the Lord with unbelievable types of energy. And so it's a great thing. And I didn't really recognize it was a great thing when I was going through all my periods of time like that in the past. But realizing it's a great thing. There's lots of people out there who struggle with this whole energy and having energy and not recognizing it. So be blessed and grateful that you have it. But what you got to do is you got to learn how to transmute. Well, I know we also had one. We're going to talk about how to do that step by step. Frederick Zimikoff, one of our viewers, mentioned that. So maybe I'll do that for the next one as a follow-up of this one. But the idea is that you have to go ahead and transmute this, which means that what you're doing, and I do it through different methods. I'll just mention one, a breathing method where I put my finger to my nose, breathe in. This is when I get aroused. I'm going to take it over and blow out. And so what you're doing is bringing oxygen, and you're moving oxygen around, and all of that energy now is flowing back up, and you can try to flow it back in your system. At the same time, you can visualize, that energy coming up, and all of a sudden now you're reacting differently. And if your mind is focused now, like mine is at 63, on trying to achieve things and better my position, then I'm not going to necessarily focus on trying to, think about women all the time. And I think that's the key thing that you can't focus on. Now, will that drive them crazy? Of course it does, and this is why you become more attractive, because you're not really paying attention. You're not desperate. And so even though you may get aroused, you're not really, you're using that to benefit you. So in some senses, it's great to be aroused. It's great to focus on that. But the idea that's what you want to do is you want to be able to use that energy and focus on it in a positive way and transmute that through your system so that you become better. And what does that do? Well, it helps you heal yourself. You help, feel better and all that kind of stuff. And you're at the point where you're looking at things in a more different way, in a positive type of way. So when I focus on this type of thing, this is what I'm kind of saying, when you want to really go ahead and transmute that energy. So this is why I think that you don't want to let it go to waste, because in a sense, even though the common type of way to approach that we see in a society is that, well, you might as well just release. Now, that's what I thought many years ago, right? Well, if you're going to get some sort of, find some pleasure, and this is what it is, really pleasure on your own behalf. You're giving yourself pleasure, and so why deny yourself? This is what the argument's been. Also, it's a great health thing. You're not going to get prostate cancer and all these kind of other things, which now some of the research is showing that's not necessarily the case. You don't necessarily get it because you're holding your semen in. If that was the case, we'd have people been dying for thousands of years, because people have been doing this for a long, long time. You don't hear all the stories of people who've been holding on to their energy. And so after a while, you can build a life on this, and this is what you should do: build a lifestyle of not releasing. And so all those fears and things are there. This is just a media, just like everything else. A lot of propaganda, a lot of fake type of stuff out there to get you to go, buy products and go to the hospital and all kinds of stuff. And I think we're seeing a lot of that, hopefully changing, where all these companies, whether it's big pharma, big business, are focusing, are getting, what they deserve, and for trying to cheat and make make people buy stuff that they don't really need. I don't really believe, as I've done this, as I've been through this whole process, I think if you can retain and you go ahead and use and transmute, you don't need a lot of pills. I take zinc, especially through the COVID type the pandemic we had, or what you want to call it. We had, I took vitamin D3 and zinc, and I was great. I never had it. I never never felt sick. There was a couple coughs here and there, but that was, and I haven't been sick in many, many years, even and I get sniffles and things once in a while. That's what I'm talking about. I mean, you're talking about really getting sick. People sometimes get sick almost every day, every other day, and they're missing work. A lot of people missing work because of illness, and a lot of it's caused by the depression. And I think it goes back to the retention myself, both in women and men. I think it's not just men that feel this, and I think you can see by the research back, especially in the 1800s, before we had all this modern type of science that was talking about how great this is to release, that a lot of people basically were very, they were very worried about people going to mental institutions and all kinds of stuff because of, because of not releasing, holding in, and somehow you're stifling growth and things like that. But we had a lot of fears about, masturbation. A lot of those type of things were out there. And so people, people forgot about all that stuff through science, and they felt, well, this is a common norm. So as you've seen over the last 80 years, especially, people have tried to make things that should be deviant behaviors and recognized as deviant behaviors to become normal. And that's what the people are fighting right now in this country and around the world, that we don't want that to be normal, because that's going to destroy the country like it's destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, like it destroyed Roman Empire, all the Incas, Mayas, everybody. They got destroyed from within because they could not transmute that energy. They used it. They just wasted it, basically, and they became waste because they became skeleton and bones. They lost all their energy. They lost everything that they were having to become attractive. And all of a sudden, you can see that the country becomes more crime-ridden. All these things are happening because of it. It's funny to me to see that when you look at cities and things that we have. Some of the cities that are the most lawful ones are the ones having all this kind of crime, especially the ones who have a lot more lascivious behaviors going on. They're allowed. When you look at this kind of stuff, you'll see that. And so I think what you got to do is kind of realize that going back to the old days is not so bad in this case, because what you really want to do is go back to some basic values, and celibacy is one of those basic values. Well, it's brahmacharya, celibacy, and we'll talk about brahmacharya in another episode. But whether or not you want to go back to brahmacharya or celibacy is what we're talking about. That you want to hold your energy in for the right time and be able, you can use that to have a child. I mean, it's very difficult to have children if you're releasing all the time, and it's very difficult not to really have quality in your life if you're just spending all your time looking at images, or even having one-night stands all the time, with different women. It's very difficult to do that because you get submerged in a whole addiction, and all you're doing then is using information and becoming more addicted to that all the time. And you want to avoid that type of thing, and you don't want to have the lust. And this is where the problem is when it comes to, getting excited. It's one thing to get excited when people just walk by and all of a sudden, you get excited. That's great. That happens. And I say it's great because it means you're a man. That's great. And God has given you that. It's still God has given you that ability. And I will say this for some of the older gentlemen out there, especially, and older women as well, but I think most of the audience we have is male, that, you want to save as much energy as you can get, especially as you get older, because testosterone levels do go down. You're going to have to keep those up, and you're going to have to go ahead and keep as much energy as you can. And you'll see progression. I mean, I see it now in me over the last number of years. Now, I had 20 some years of bad behavior, so it's taken a little while to be able to come back from that. I'm getting better. I have a long way to go, but I'm still getting better, and I can see myself getting better and better and better. But it drains you. You don't realize how draining it is until you're at the point where it's too late, and you don't want to do that. So no matter what age you're at, no matter where you're at in life, 70, 80, 60 years old, 50, 63 myself, or 20, things like that, you want to go ahead and start holding into your energy. You don't want to be releasing. You want to transmute that energy. And like I said, another episode, I'll go ahead and talk about the sexual transmutation more, because this is kind of what Napoleon Hill said in his book Think and Grow Rich as well. So, all right, my friends, well, thank you so much. I appreciate that idea. This is from, again, I go back to it, Led by Grace. Thank you, Led by Grace. I appreciate that. And again, it's comical in one sense, but in another sense, it's really a serious topic, because when you do get aroused, and it's a blessing to do that, you have to understand how to transmute that. And we'll talk more about that in the next episode. So until then, guys, have a great day. And I always leave you 2 things. 1, every day is a great day to a great warrior. I think I messed that up a little bit, but that's okay. You know what I said. And number 2, guys, we're always fighting a battle. We're always in a battle every day. We have to keep the helmet on. We got to keep the breastplate of power. And we have to continue to battle on! Take care, guys. Have a great day today and a great weekend if I don't talk to you tomorrow.